Well, 3 in one night. That's a record. 3 in one night. Yesterday was Father's Day. And I never shared this because as soon as I got in, it was just crazy. Just like, boom, 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 you know, fireworks. Shit. Today, I kind of thought about it, beyond all the craziness and all the hectic activities that happened. I've been under the shadow of torment for far too long whenever Father's Day came around. By the way, these videos are brought to you by Little Debbie. Anyway, like I said before, whenever Father's Day came around, I felt this shadow of torment around my very soul. And for those who don't know, I used to be married. And not only that, but I was to bear a child myself by my then wife, who is now my ex. Problem was, with the problem we've been having, I really didn't want that. And I didn't want my child to start thinking that he or she might have been a mistake, or why what happened between the two of us, why we're no longer on speaking terms and whatnot, you know. Because nothing's worse than having a child thinking that they caused something that honestly had nothing to do with them. I felt ever since that day, or ever since Father's Day came around, I felt tormented by what I could have done, what I should have done, and what will I do. Well, one thing's for certain, me and remarriage is going to take a long time, because the way I am now, I'm focusing my energy on my work. Be it my Let's Plays or my novels, I'm honestly just at work. My mind cannot be thinking about marriage. It cannot. Because marriage is a big step, as anybody can tell you. And on top of that, well, I can't afford to get married. Not right now, anyway. Right now, I have to think about my career. My career as an author. What can I do to better myself as an author? And how can I perhaps go farther as an author? It has been practically about over 20 years since it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years since my father passed away. And he died of a stroke. And again, this is for anybody who's new to my channel, or those who don't know why I'm talking about this. 20 years can really just sit in for a long time, and of course I was a preteen. So, you know, I was just going through all the growing pains. That one, of course, was the biggest because, I don't know, for 20 years I kept thinking to myself, whenever this day came around, I just felt tormented by it. Only because that I have no one to actually give me advice no more. I mean, sound advice. Advice that I can really go with and take with me and remember it while as I'm growing up, to always honor and hope to remember it in my own heart. And for what it is, whatever I'm doing, I'm pretty sure my dad will be happy. And the fact that I look at my life now, and I'm a full-fledged author, it really just put my life into reflection now. What I did yesterday was I went to church. And it's been a while since I actually went to church. Now, what I did at church was, take the usual seat, listen to the message, which was basically about how great this one person's dad is. Part of me was like, hey, let's stop. Make it stop. And of course, while I was listening, my mind was just going into that mode. So after staying there for a while, and they offered prayer, I stayed at my seats and started praying. And I asked God, could you please find it in your heart to actually forgive me for actually putting myself through all this torment, all this anguish that I ever had for years on end? Could you ever forgive me for what I did when I was in Japan? And don't worry, it's strong. I mean, for everything that happened to me back then, could you honestly forgive me for what I did? I mean, I was in really bad shape. I was desperate. I feared for my own safety and my own sanity, as well as my future. Of course, where I was in my standing was, I only went back to Japan only to get some closure on a few things. If it was meant to be, then I would have stayed. If not, I'd leave. I'd come back to the U.S. and never go back. So technically, throughout all that, I went back to, I went through all kinds of hell when I was in Japan. Actually, when I was in Japan, and the answer was so apparent. I was homeless. I was homeless for a couple of weeks until basically my brother, who's a pastor, not the ones I've been talking about, but I have someone in Japan who's been watching over me, and he basically told me, his name is Frank. He told me that my Japan privileges are revoked. Never come back unless invited. For my safety, do not come back. Well, in his own words, it's like, for safety, for your own safety, do not come back here unless if invited. I thought, all right. Now, what does this have to do with what I'm saying now? Quite simple. The entire time that I was going through this ordeal, I was just kind of thinking about it. Like, okay, why am I going through this? Why is it happening to me? And what can I do to stop it? It took me plenty of years to actually try and get it out of my system. And for what it's worth, yeah. Look, a lot of stuff that is in my system. But the thing is, at certain nights, or when I'm with my friends, I keep that bottled up. And if somebody asks, well, what's wrong, Izzy? Yeah, I really can't tell them because it's too difficult to tell them. Plus, it kind of feels not awkward, but the real question is, do you really want to know? Because, you know, it might blow your mind, it might scare you, or it might just, well, how should I say this? It's basically going to do this. I'm going to be! Got more email. That's pretty much what it would do, because, you know, nobody needs to know why it happened to me. It just did. I mean, I'm a survivor of it. I'm a survivor of the worst things that happened in my life. I'm a survivor of rape. I'm a survivor of being homeless. I don't get no achievements for that, but even though I feel I should, I'm a survivor. I'm a fighter. And God damn it, I'm still here. I mean, it's that simple. I'm still here. By the grace of God. And really, for what it's worth, I'm glad I'm still here. Because if I wasn't here, I'd be 6 feet under. Someone would probably teabag on my grave or shit on it. And more from T.O.M. Wonderful. I really wouldn't have a future if I wasn't here now. If I hadn't survived and perhaps just waited, my sanity, you know, just basically like this, well, I wouldn't have made it. So here I am. I remember I saw an anime. I forgot what it was called. I believe it was Human Scramble. I think it was called Human Scramble. And there was this one, this one scene I remember clear as day, where this father was walking with a baby carriage. And he was talking, he was narrating while he was walking with his baby carriage. He said, "You see that? That's a tree. And the leaves and everything. You see that over there? the school. That's the school that you were going to go to. This right here, this is the city that you're going to live in, that you were going to live in. And he kept talking and talking and talking, and I kept watching this scene. And then for some reason, I started crying as I was watching the scene. I remember clear as day, I was watching that one scene, and my God, I must have cried when that happened. I cannot explain how deep that one scene was, because deep down I had lost my own child, my only firstborn, that I know I'm going to get back, but still, one of these days, whenever that happens, when it does, I'm probably going to take my kid, walk him or her down the block, and just show them around, saying, you know, this is going to be, you see that school over there? One of these days, when you know how to talk, you're going to go there. You're going to like it. It's pretty good. Seen it, visited it, talked to some of the people there. Yeah, you're going to like it. And just talk to my kid the same way that guy talked to the one he was going to have. By the way, the kid died. Stillborn, I believe. Anyway, so my reason for actually doing what I did, it was just, I needed to be free. I needed to get over it and move on in my life, and I apparently did. I'm forever glad I'd done it. And that's probably the only time I will actually go to church, because I want to move on in my life. I do not want this hanging on my soul or hanging over me for the rest of my years, worrying about when this certain time comes around and it's going to put me in negation mode and whatnot. I don't want that, and nobody should have me in that mode. Nobody should have me around when I'm in that mode, but then again, without my friends and those I love and care about, well, you know how it is. But in any case, I think I've said enough. I have survived, and I lived through it. So therefore, I'm going to live by the way Musashi lives. Miyamoto Musashi. Because on the back of his vest, it says Tenkaichi. More than likely, strongest in the land or something like that. Yeah, strongest in the land, that sort of thing. And that's how my mindset's going to be. So therefore, yeah. So with that, folks, I'm sorry if that was a bit long, but it had to be said. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the videos, past and present. Remember to rate, like, subscribe, and of course buy my book. In any case, it's been the Tenkaichi of Gaming, Ichigo Musko. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.